Alright guys, back to show one of my Knicks binders. I was just putting away some of the stuff that I got from Burke Knowledge in here, and I figured let me do a quick video for this binder before I put it away. Or actually, I don't know how quick it'll be, but we'll see. And what this binder contains is Knicks draft picks from like the past 25 years or so. Well, this first guy's from 94, 95, so I guess anybody that was drafted before then will not be in this binder. Anybody drafted after that will be in this binder. So yeah, let's get started. This is Monty Williams, who's now the coach of the Phoenix Suns. Just coached them to the finals this past season, but never was much of a player. Played a bit with the Knicks and with San Antonio, but I think already his coaching career is better than his playing career ever was. Also coached a bit with the Hornets. Next you got Charlie Ward, was a Heisman Trophy winner in college, played football and basketball. I don't remember what the story was of how he ended up choosing the NBA draft over the NFL draft, but I think he made the right choice. I think he was kind of too small for the NFL. Ended up having a long NBA career, mostly with the Knicks, played a bit with the Rockets. But yeah, was never like an all-star, but just a solid point guard. I think he started most of the time with the Knicks. I think with the Rockets he came off the bench. But yeah, obviously I only have his Knicks stuff in here. Next you got John Wallace. This was a guy that I thought was going to be much better than he turned out to be. Kind of fell to the Knicks in the draft, and I guess all the people that passed on him knew something, because didn't end up having much of an NBA career. Played twice with the Knicks, played with the Raptors a bit. But yeah, had some really cool rookies. That was probably my favorite rookie class, the 96-97 rookie class. Not just because of the class itself, but there's a lot of cool designs that year. Got the Upper Deck SP, that was one of my favorite sets. UD3, that was another one. But yeah, for those that don't know, that was like the Kobe Bryant rookie year, the Allen Iverson rookie year, Marbury, Antoine Walker, all those guys. It was a stacked rookie class. So yeah, this guy really dropped to the Knicks at like 20th pick or something like that. He thought he was going to be like a top 10 pick. Good scorer in college, but again, just never completely put it together in the NBA. Then you got Walter McCarty. Again, same rookie class. Knicks had 3 draft picks that year. They took Wallace. They took Walter McCarty, who I think has done some coaching as well, or some assistant coaching. You got the Finest. Love that Finest set too. This was their other draft pick that same year, Dante Jones. I think he was probably the worst out of all of them. I think he was out of the league in like 2 years or so. You got a mix of guys. Got LeVar Postel, Mike Sweetney. Was that Masij Lampe? I think he was the reason why years later they booed Porzingis when they drafted him, because they remember years earlier when they drafted this European guy and it didn't turn out to be anything. So Knicks fans just assumed Porzingis was going to turn out the same way. You got Marty Collins. But yeah, these were some rough years. These were some bad picks they made. And you got 2 guys here. You got Channing Frye and Danilo Gallinari. Those were some better picks they made, but I feel like they lost patience with them kind of quick. Especially Channing Frye. Danilo, they kind of were forced to trade him in the Carmelo deal, because obviously you had to give up something good to get Carmelo. So he was like the main young guy they gave up in that deal. But has had a nice NBA career still, hanging around. You got David Lee. That was a good pick. I think he was like a late first round pick or second round pick. Turned out to be a really good player. But again, as is usually the case, after like a few years, they got rid of him. They sent them to Golden State on a sign-in trade, which some of these cards say Warriors on them, but since he was pictured with the Knicks, I left him in there. Love this studio set. I would say this set would be great for TTMs with that open spot there. I actually think I've sent out a few of those cards from that set for TTMs, but don't think I ever got any of them back. And you got Nate Robinson, another guy I really liked. But again, after about 3 years, they sent him somewhere. I forgot where they traded him. It's a really cool shot. He's dunking over Spud Webb in the dunk contest. There's another dunk contest shot. That's kind of what made him famous, the dunk contest. I think he won it twice. Actually, I'm surprised I don't have any Nate Robinson rookies in here. Definitely got to get some. I might have a few top loaded in the Knicks box, but not sure. A few more Nate cards, some more dunk contest shots there. You got Wilson Chandler, who Walt Frazier sometimes called Will the Thrill. He's another solid player. Like during this time, they were drafting like in the middle of the draft, and sometimes they'd make decent picks, but again, after just a few years, they'd get rid of a lot of these guys. Actually, I think he also went to Denver in the Carmelo trade. Love that one though, with the old school Fleer design. Then you got some other randos here. Honestly, don't even remember who the hell that guy is. CJ Leslie, vaguely remember him. We got there. Oh, that's the other page. Here you got Ronaldo Balkman and Jordan Hill. Both these guys kind of looked similar. Ronaldo Balkman actually played for the Puerto Rican team in some tournaments. I'm not sure if one of his parents is Puerto Rican or if they just happened to put him on that team or what. But yeah, then a few years later, Jordan Hill. They're both kind of similar players, kind of forwards that could shoot a bit, but again, didn't really amount to much. They just spent their mandatory 2 or 3 years with the Knicks, and they were gone. Here you got Tony Douglas. I remember when they got him, a lot of us here thought he was going to be a decent point guard for us, but again, just never really made it. He hung around the NBA for a while. I think he played for like 2 or 3 other teams, but ended up just being like a bench player that played like 10 minutes. Like here, when he came here, we thought he was going to be like our point guard of the future. Goes to show you what we know, but yeah, it didn't work out that way. And Jerry and Grant, I believe he was a draft night trade. They got him. Another guard they thought was going to be decent. He's the son of Harvey Grant, nephew of Horace Grant. But yeah, not sure he's even still in the league. Made sure to put these two guys together, Andy Routins and Landry Fields. They had the Andy and Landry show on the MSG network here, which is probably the best thing either of them ever did. Next you got Iman Shumpert. He was another guy that was pretty good, but again, they just gave up on him too soon. He ended up going to Cleveland and won a championship over there with LeBron, but probably never would have helped the Knicks win a championship. But he was a solid player, good defender, decent shooter, but again, after like 2 years, they gave up on him. I just saw that Landry Fields card was numbered to 25, so that's cool. Low numbered card there. But yeah, they gave up on Shumpert, pretty much gifted him to Cleveland. You got Thanasis Antetokounmpo, brother of Giannis, who I think was actually on the Milwaukee team this year, although he didn't really play. But yeah, Knicks drafted him in the 2nd round, I believe. Spent most of his time in the D League, back when it was called the D League. Now it's called the G League. Cleanthony Early, which I think was another 2nd round pick or late 1st round pick. But again, yet again, never really made it. Never really got a chance. Was gone after a few years. And you got Tim Hardaway Jr. Most people should know him. He's been around the league. Knicks ended up getting him twice and ended up trading him twice. But from what I heard, he had a decent season with the Mavericks this past year. Just re-signed with them. But yeah, with the Knicks, was just very inconsistent. Like, he'd have a night where he could drop like 35 points out of nowhere, then he'd have a few games where he'd shoot like 2 for 20. And y'all know how the Knicks fans and Knicks media could be. They were all over him all the time. They were on the bandwagon when he played well, and they were really riding him when he didn't play well. So I think he'll be happier playing elsewhere. But I always liked him, thought he was decent. And like I said, I think he's playing pretty well with Dallas now. A few nice color parallels there, nice die cut. One more Timmy there. Next we get to a big one here. Kristaps Porzingis.
What the fuck did they do? Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is Tingus Pingus? I never heard of fucking Latvia. You drafted this fucking kid. You stupid motherfuckers, you.
And so here's a guy whose next career was kind of odd, actually. Like, had so many ups and downs in such a short period of time. It all started on draft night when the Knicks picked him, and a lot of the Knicks fans in attendance were booing him, and a lot of the local media was killing the Knicks for making that pick. I was never in that camp. I was like, it's not like the Knicks could get any worse. Like, give this guy a chance. And around that time, there were so many good European players coming in the league, so I was like, maybe he could be one of them. And he was so young, and he was big, and he could shoot. So I was like, let's give this guy a chance. And sure enough, that first rookie year, he showed some flashes of how good he could be, and naturally a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon. But again, throughout his Knicks career, had so many ups and downs. I think he only had like one really good like all-star season, but the rest of the time it was just like showing those flashes of what potentially he could be, but never quite putting it all together. Had some injury issues, some inconsistency issues. That's the thing with the injuries too. Like he always had like some nagging injury that would keep him out like 5 games here, 10 games there. Then had the big injury that kept him out like for almost an entire season and for like half of the next season, which ended up being when they traded him. They actually traded him when he was still on the injured list. But yeah, they didn't really get much in that trade either, which was always kind of upsetting. But the thing was, again, I've always said I have like mixed feelings about the way it all went down, because Kristaps was actually starting to get a bit of a diva-like attitude. Like it was almost like he was starting to believe some of his own hype, and the rumors were that he had a lot of people that were like a bad influence around him. One of them being his older brother, and maybe they got in his ear and started convincing him that he was better than he was or whatever. I mean, again, had a lot of potential, but when you look at about actually accomplishing some of that stuff, he really didn't do that much. But it seemed like he thought he did. He thought he was like one of the best players in franchise history or something. So he caught a bit of an attitude that last year. So again, I felt kind of mixed about it. I wanted to keep him definitely, but I also wasn't like heartbroken because I could understand. And really, both sides have a lot of blame to take. But it's just funny how people just blame the organization, but they put no blame on him. Like, again, I feel like both sides had a lot to do with that bad divorce that they had. But with that being said, I think he's still a good player. I'm interested to see how his career continues from here. But with the way he's been in Dallas, like he's already had some injuries in Dallas, and he didn't perform well in the playoffs this past year. So I'm thinking maybe they dodged a bullet by not giving him like that big max contract, because who knows, he might not be the guy that you can build a franchise around. I kind of like the way they're building the team now. Like all the pieces fit rather than trying to build around just one guy. But yeah, that's the end of the Porzingis section. But anyway, just to finish up on Kristaps, as I've said, I'll still pick up some of his Knicks stuff, especially some of the nicer looking stuff. But I just won't go out of my way like I used to get some stuff. Won't like overpay for it. I actually do have a nice Dallas card of him that Egg sent me, but I don't keep that in here. I top loaded it and put it in my random NBA box. And here we got Willie Hernan Gomez, which kind of goes in line with a lot of the other draft picks I've been talking about. They kind of find like these under the radar guys, and they perform pretty well, but after a couple of years they're like, all right, we had enough of you, get out of here. There's been Dagas Kuzminskas. He was another kind of like energy guy off the bench. I don't even know why they make so many rookies for some of these guys that they know are not going to be in the league that long. You got Damian Dotson, another guy that spent a lot of time in the D-League. Marshall Plumlee, who I think has like 2 or 3 other NBA brothers. I put both of these guys together. I've said these guys had like a cult following, each of them. Like they never really did anything, but yet like their autographs always were like really high priced on eBay, or a lot of people would bid on them. And during the games, people would be chanting for them to come in the game and whatnot. And I didn't get it. I don't even know if Ron Baker's on the team anymore. And I think they just got rid of Brasdikis. Next, you got Alonzo Trier. Here's a guy that I really like. Again, another nice under-the-radar pickup that came in and worked hard and played well, but after a couple of years, they were done with him. I think he's still on a team. Not sure, though. But here's some of the ones I got from Burke Knowledge that I just put in here. Some of the different rookies. And you got Frank the Tank, the French Prince, Frank Ntilikina, or Nicolini. And they just got rid of him, or they released him from his contract, or they didn't pick up his option or something like that. So I don't think they're bringing him back at all. I don't think they even have money to bring him back. But yeah, another kind of failed project. I think he's kind of similar to Iman Shumpert, like a guy that's a good defender, can knock down some shots. A guy that I think will do well on like a really good team where he doesn't have the pressure he had here. Because I think he was like the 11th pick in the draft or something like that. So people were kind of expecting him to be something that he wasn't. I have like 20 of that rookie that I bought from Brad8671 his rookie year, but I took most of them out of here because it was taking up too much space. But yeah, I like them, but again, just the Knicks just have such a tough time developing these guys with so many coaching changes and philosophy changes and different playbooks and all that. So again, hope he can go somewhere and kind of play well. And so I have this here kind of as a divider, because everything you saw previously was former Knicks. Everything you see from here on is current Knicks. There you got Michael Rappaport, who's a well-known Knicks fan. Kind of obnoxious sometimes, but I think he's really funny. I follow him on Instagram, and again, I don't always agree with what he's saying, but it's just funny to see him rant and go crazy. Sometimes you think he's gonna have a heart attack with how crazy he gets. There you got Knox of the Knicks, another guy who I think they might give up on. I hope not. He's still very young, very athletic, but just doesn't seem to fit this system. Again, the new coaching staff didn't seem to believe in him. Kind of cut his minutes. And it's tough to develop that way when you play like 25 minutes one night, then you don't play at all the next night, or you play 5 minutes the next night. It's just tough to really get in the groove that way. But he's a guy that's, again, super young, super athletic, so in the right system, I think he could really find his way. And you see it all the time, like in the NBA, like some guys that they're around for like 5-6 years, and you think they're not going to become anything, and then all of a sudden it just clicks. Like, look at a lot of guys on the Milwaukee Bucks, guys like Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. Those guys bounce around for like 4 or 5 teams, and they finally found a good spot for themselves and became good players this season. So I'm not giving up hope on Knox yet, but again, I just don't think it'll happen with the Knicks. Really like that one there, that acetate. Is that the same Crown Royale? Oh, this is a rookie Crown Royale, and I guess that's like a second or third year. Then you got some Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, another guy that has been in some trade rumors because they re-signed Nerlens Noel. But I'm saying just keep them both. Like, what's the problem with having 2 big guys? Like, you could actually play them both together at the same time, and they could dominate the paint defensively. And plus, Mitch is always hurt anyway, so you might as well just keep them both just for insurance. Got 2 of that blue one, which I really like. I think they call that the Flash Prism. But yeah, some nice Mitch stuff. His stuff, his rookies and autos are always kind of expensive, which I've always said I don't quite get it because, like I said, he's always hurt, but I guess it's just based on potential. I got a few more nice shiny ones here. I think these were from last year. These are all different. The base, the snowflake, and some shiny ones. Next we move on to RJ Barrett, which I think is the most talented young guy they have. But again, it's all going to depend on development. But I like his work ethic. I think he's a guy that as he gets older, he's just going to get more aggressive and just score a lot more. But I think that's the only page I have of him. I think I got that one, or probably both of those from Scotty Aranya. These are the draft picks from last year. You got Obi and Quickly. Really happy that I got that one fairly cheap. The orange blazer, I think they call it. That one's really cool. And then back here, I just have some of the former Knicks picks in their college uniforms. As I always say, I don't mind having some of the college uniform stuff, but I just like keeping it separate. I like the way all the team uniform stuff goes. All the pro team uniform stuff, I mean, and all the college uniform stuff looks better together like this. A few of the current guys, RJ and Obi. There is a Nate Robinson rookie. I was wondering if I had any. And back here, I just have some former Knicks picks in their other NBA uniforms. I don't do this for every former Knicks pick, just some of the ones I liked. I like John Wallace. I like Danilo, even though he killed us in the playoffs this year with the Hawks. Now you got Nate and Tim Hardaway. I probably have a few more cards of these guys in other uniforms, but I'll put them in there as I find them. And so that's it. Another binder video down, probably like 20 more to go. So I will catch you guys next time.